looking for?
I don't know. But hey, we're live. We're here. So, boom. How about that, Triggs?
Oh, snap.
I know, right?
Hey, I guess I'm like super live. There was probably like
super
right
live.
in my nose and checking it out.
Oh, that's okay, man.
Man,
It's okay.
we're living the dream.
We are, man. We are. So, but yeah, good stuff, man.
Maybe.
Yeah, not so good for my NFL team, but yeah, I mean, I just hope we don't win any more games. So it's a really weird place. I don't like the fact that Aiden O'Connell's coming back. Man, I just want to keep people healthy and just get out of the season, man. Uh-oh. I lost my guy. Let me get him back here and let me see where he is at. All right, there he is. Mm-mm. All right, let me try this here. And did that work? That did not work. All right. Where's he at? All right. Let's end this.
Okay.
There you are.
I literally have no idea what just happened. I was talking, and then it was like, "You're not here," and then I was like, "I am here," but I'm here. Okay, I'm like full on here now.
There we go. All right, good stuff, man. Good stuff. But yeah. Anyways, it sucks because man, I love the NFL. I love fantasy football, and it sucks because my fantasy team is done and my NFL team is done. It's tough, man. It's tough.
Man, I am with you there. Like every single fantasy team that I had in the playoffs, all just were like, "Yep, we're done. We're not playing anymore."
Yeah, but I want to say too, like in our league, I think you are. Oh yeah, so you did move down a little bit in the consolation bracket. So yeah, you got a tight matchup this week by the looks of it.
Oh, solid. That's good to know.
Yeah, so if you
Maybe
get
Sam Darnold goes crazy or something.
yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's definitely a possibility. I mean, shoot, if we're looking at games for today, I mean, especially a guy like Sam Darnold, he's playing at Seattle. It's kind of an odd place for Minnesota to go to every now and then, but sometimes they do all right when they go over there. We just saw Green Bay head over to Seattle and did pretty well. That was no Geno Smith. I think I heard Drew Lock, or wait, no, I'm mixing him up for the Giants. He is playing today in Seattle. That would either be a healthy Geno or it would be an active Sam Howell. But Minnesota's playing really good football. Plus, I mean, they are fighting tooth and nail to get that first round bye. So
yeah,
I could see a really solid game from Minnesota today. That team is so well disciplined. They know it's a long flight. They got to be like just dialed in today. I could really see Minnesota playing well out there in Seattle. They're used to noise. They know how to play in this.
Yeah, there's a lot of teams like that I'm just kind of like, okay, well, here we go. Let's see what happens. With Minnesota, Detroit, the Eagles, all tied at the top of the NFC. It's one of those things where you just kind of go, okay, well, what's the difference in these teams? And yeah, the Lions put up a huge point differential, but like they're not that far ahead of the Eagles and the Vikings. And the Eagles and Vikings let up less points per game than those two, or than the Lions. So like you're kind of just in this weird bubble right now where I don't really know who's better than who. Like obviously we know the Lions have lost literally like their entire team, but
it's still good, man.
Fun.
Exactly. Yeah, there are definitely things with the Lions today that I definitely still like. Granted, this is one of their 3 outdoor games, which is just mind blowing. But
Yeah. Wonder how
the
that
thing is
worked
too,
out.
yeah, I know, right? This is definitely one of those games though that I'm excited to watch. If this is the 12 o'clock game aired locally, I think it would be. And I kind of do want to see this for the sake of seeing a guy like Jameer Gibbs be the bell cow.
Yep.
And he's played pretty well in a couple of games where he's been on his own. If he does it again, man, that just makes us lick our chops going into next fantasy season because I think he absolutely gets unleashed. Um, we'll see what happens. I mean, granted, him and Montgomery would be a solid 1-2 punch, but man, I think like they're really just holding back Jameer Gibbs, and that guy could really do some crazy stuff moving forward. I think.
I mean, I'm with you there. Like, I think that can either let him, like you said, unleash, or he could get exposed, and you're not really sure which one you're going to get until it happens.
Right.
Because there's been a lot of running backs that they get that shot, and then all of a sudden you're like, oh, that's why they gave you a guy behind you, because they just didn't trust you. They trusted
Yeah.
you enough to just plow through. Um,
Right.
Now, one of the fun parts, like not even just talking about the Lions, but so obviously the Lions and Vikings play each other at the end of the season.
Oh wow,
Huh. Wonder how
that's
that
wild.
wonder how that would happen. January 5th there. Now,
Interesting.
so I would I'm gonna put my money on Philly. And the only reason I say Philly is because, like I said, the Lions are missing a lot of players, but the Lions are at the Bears and at the 49ers. Okay, those should be cupcake games. Well, do you think the Lions are also thinking these should be cupcake games? We've seen them
No.
run through a ton of teams, but they barely beat the Bears, what, 2, 3 weeks ago? It was a
Yeah, that
last
game should
second
have been
field goal.
tied. Yeah, that game
Um,
definitely should have been tied.
and then they have the Vikings at the end, right? So you look at Minnesota. Minnesota has the Seahawks, technically battling for a playoff team. They have the
Yep.
Green Bay Packers, technically, I mean, for now, battling to be a playoff team,
That's
or
a
at
tough
least their
schedule.
seed. And then
Yep.
they have the Lions. Now you
It's
go to
tough.
Philly. Philly has the Commanders. Okay,
Yep.
big game. But
Yep.
they have Dallas and the Giants.
Oh,
Yeah, right. So, I mean,
they win
how
today,
much
they're not
fun?
losing any more games.
Yeah, exactly. And how fitting would it be for a couple weeks or a couple years ago, the Lions played spoiler for the Packers. What if the Vikings are the team that plays spoiler and kicks the Lions out of the first round bye just because they're like, hey, we'll see you number one in the playoffs first
Yeah.
game, and you're sitting there going, rematch 1 week later? Like, whoa.
Right. Yeah, no, it's totally wild to shake up like that. I could definitely see that playing out where Minnesota uh bounces Detroit to 3 losses. Minnesota is probably going to get a loss in here as well. And then Philly, if they're, I mean, right now they're in a 3-way tie, and Philly is the 1 seed, correct?
Um, I'm not really sure because everywhere I look, it says Detroit, but then there's other places that I see Philly, and I'm like, but I know Detroit has a better conference record. But if they lose, then it's all for naught because I don't think Philly's losing a game
Yeah, so technically by tiebreakers right now, Detroit is the 1 seed.
because
So
of
if
the
they do
conference
fall into,
record, right?
yeah, because of the conference record. So they fall into a 3-way tie. But again, too, if Detroit loses that, Philly wins that, then the conference record prevails. Then it gets really weird after that. Then it becomes strength of victories. Philly's at 440. I think it becomes like strength of common what it's like strength of
But
victories, or it's like head to head of common opponents, and it gets
but
weird.
if Detroit loses one game, we
It's
don't
gonna bring
think
them down.
Philly's losing. Yeah, Philly's.
Right.
I think Philly's going undefeated for the rest of the season. Um,
Yeah. They played really well against Washington the first look.
yeah, and that was
Yeah.
also when we were all kind of, not really, feeling the Eagles as much as we thought, and they still beat them by 8 points.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. That totally happened there. Um,
And they
yeah.
smashed
If
the Cowboys by
yeah.
nearly 30, and the Giants scored 3 points. So,
Yep.
like, I don't see them losing those other ones.
I know. I was hearing guys a few weeks ago point out that basically, I want to say it was the guys on Fox, Nick Wright and the gang, were saying that if base, and this was a few weeks ago, Philly is basically looking at no worse than the 2 seed, and that was
Yeah.
2 weeks ago,
Yep.
and we're pretty much right in line with that. And a win today to me pretty much cements that.
But the
Almost
last
regardless of
time,
what happens to Detroit.
just wanted to throw this in there. The last time that they played Washington, Philly put up 20 in the third quarter, right? Saquon went for 146 and 2 touchdowns.
Yeah. Yeah, they can run through them like a hot knife through butter, man. It's
Yeah.
absolutely going to happen. Yeah, they are, and now that like last week, like they had some edge to them. Like Jalen Hurts was making beautiful throws, man.
Oh, yeah.
The criticisms I had for him went out the window that game. I really like seeing how he played that game. His progressions look solid. Jahan Dotson was getting in the mix. They have a number 2 tight end who is actually starting to be a part of that mix as well. It looks so good when they really got to that red zone. So we'll see if how that goes today. Does he make more of those throws in the open field? We'll see.
And
But this is a tight matchup. I'm excited for the Washington Philly game too.
and to throw some fuel on that fire, Washington's bottom 10 in the league in rush yards given up per game. And like that's one of those things where now you look at that Saquon game of 150 and 2 tuds, and you're going,
Yeah,
oh, well, I bet what the game plan is going to be is feed Saquon just to throw you
exactly.
off the scent, and then
Yep.
all that play action sets up, and now Jalen Hurts. And Philly, by the way, is the number 1 rushing offense in the league, uh, by a lot. And so it's one of those where it's like, well, guess what? Now Jalen Hurts just sits back there, throws passes down the middle, over the top to Brown and Smith, and there's really nothing you can do if Philly's on hitting on all cylinders.
Right. And I think the other thing too is, I mean, this is where I was pointing this out too. I think a really solid pickup, if you had to flex the option, especially against Washington today, I think you got to pound the table for Kenneth Gainwell. Like if Saquon's going to be doing work and they're up by a good amount, if they give him some time off and Kenneth gets in there, then he's going to get that garbage time yardage. Maybe he sneaks a touchdown. Maybe he sneaks a touchdown earlier in the game. Either way, they have an excellent 1-2 punch that is kind of overlooked. Doesn't get to see as much flash and dash as Detroit's, but man, Kenneth Gainwell is a solid guy. I love the fact that he's not getting too much tread on his tires, but he has that explosive ability to break out just as well as Saquon does. So I think he's a solid play if you need a guy, especially a running back.
Right. And the just looking at some of the stats from that previous game, it was 26-10 with 4 minutes to go. Washington scored with 28 seconds to make it not a double-digit beating.
Yeah,
So they kind of just played with their food the first half and then just kept running it down their throat. And by that point, Saquon had a 23-yard touchdown, a 39-yard touchdown in the fourth quarter. So
yeah.
they must have gotten tired, beat up, and Saquon was just like, "Oh, I'm just getting started. Let's go."
Yeah, and I would think if I'm Philly too, I mean, this is a short travel distance. I think they're going to look at that again, and I think they're going to look at that as, hey, let's start fast, let's start hard, Let's get to that lead, and then let's just pound the rock and run the clock. I think that's
Right.
absolutely got to be the game plan for today against Washington. We'll be going over it later, but I think you and I are along the same mindset on this game.
So fun, just a fun little like way to move the chain and move the needle just a little bit.
Yeah.
So Saquon still leads. The only person close to him in rushing yardage is Derrick Henry. Derrick Henry's 50 yards behind.
Yep.
But he's also played in an extra game because he's already played yesterday. So
yeah, exactly.
Like Saquon is literally 11 yards per game better than the next closest guy. And those are the only two players over 100 yards per game. That's insane.
It is. And honestly, I mean, I was a little bit disappointed towards the end of the game last night between the Steelers and Ravens, especially seeing both Lamar Jackson and Russell Wilson throw some ugly picks towards the end of that game. I'm not like, that's a bad look on Lamar. I like Derrick Henry, but again, he's pretty much just a cannon shot of a player. He makes pretty much all of his yardage on basically a few plays. That's how he executes the massive yardage and what he does. And it's great. But in terms of Saquon Barkley, great. I think Saquon's got an edge on him. And if we get some bad Josh Allen games out of the next few games, I would love to see Saquon get MVP. He was my fan. He was totally my fantasy MVP. And it'll be cool when we run the analytics in the offseason to see who was more bona fide, more valuable. Is it going to end up being Saquon or is it going to end up being Josh Allen? And I think Saquon's going to bring a heavy case on this when we run the numbers.
True story. So I just thought I should throw this out there.
Yeah.
I know you love everybody named Zay. What about Zay Flowers yesterday? Putting up a dub.
Absolutely. Yeah, I saw him put up a hundy on 5 catches, and I love it. And he's a guy that, like, I definitely regret not going with this year because he is one of my favorites. And next season, he's really got my eyes honed in on him. I mean, granted, we got to see what offseason moves they make, but Zay Flowers is just a weapon, and how they use him in the offense is pretty amazing, to be honest. And pretty much ever since the second half of last season, he's just been absolutely on a tear.
No, the one thing that kind of puzzled me was this earlier this week or late last week, Deontay Johnson, right? Like, what? Why do you make a trade for a guy and then just go, yeah, we're good?
Yeah, it's such a weird thing, and I think they're kind of doing like what San Francisco is doing to that defensive player that walked off, where they're basically just going to hold Deontay on the team and basically hold him almost hostage. And they may not penalize him, they may not play him much, but I think the main thing is the main thing moving forward is do not let that guy on the open market. Otherwise, we know Pittsburgh would pick him up in a heartbeat. They would take him back immediately.
That's true. And you're talking about our boy Devondre Campbell. Just saying, the Packers kind of knew this was coming. Like, obviously, we kind of had some headbutting with him. The guy went from like an all-pro to, he's still on the team, like in literally a year, and it was like, he's going crazy on the sideline, and then he walks off, and us Packer fans are just sitting there going, "Yep, sounds about right."
There's guys like that show up that way, and it is what it is. I just hate seeing it on the fantasy side of the Deontay Johnson guy, because like that guy is amazing. Come this off season, he is definitely going to be a free agent that's on the move. And he might have to wait for where Devontae Adams goes to before he picks his destination. But he's going to be highly sought after, I can tell you that.
He did get waived on Monday.
Deontay Johnson?
Yes, he is waived. Right now, there are multiple teams interested in claiming him, including the Kansas City Chiefs, and the LA Chargers.
Yeah, I could see the Chargers being a really good fit. Does he go through so do transactions not process until after this week, I guess?
Yeah, I'm assuming. It just
Yeah,
says
because he should have played then on Thursday if that was the case.
no,
Or
he's on
or he
waivers.
should have played. Oh,
No,
okay.
he's not like on the team anymore. Like he's
Right.
it says the Baltimore Ravens and Johnson agreed to mutually excuse him from team activities. He was then released soon after.
Oh, okay. So maybe releasing him on Monday has him out there, and then I don't know, maybe somehow that transaction goes through after this week.
Yeah, it should be after this week. He's just got to clear waivers. Um, but
Yeah.
yeah, he's got interest, which is kind of weird that like if he goes to like if he okay,
I
so
hope
it
he goes
says
to the
Johnson will
Chargers.
likely be claimed on waivers Monday. So
Oh
Monday
yeah, so
is
that
the like
process is
official day.
Monday.
Yep.
Yeah. Yep.
And then once he's I mean, I don't know what the money looks like at this point because he was traded. I don't know how much money
Right, dirt
someone has to
cheap.
pick up on him,
Yeah.
but if he clears waivers, then he can just sign outright to any team he wants.
Yep.
Um, at this point, oh man, it would suck if he went to like the Chiefs and they just got super powered even more.
They
Um,
could.
but
Absolutely.
like DeAndre Hopkins and Xavier Worthy and
Yep.
Hollywood Brown, like it's the land of misfit toys.
Yeah. And shame on the league for letting these guys walk. To be honest, it really is. I mean, that's where good ownership shows up, and they make the transactions and plays that it takes to build a winning culture. And I mean, Tennessee, like they're just an absolute disaster right now without DeAndre Hopkins, and they're at the bottom of the barrel in the AFC South. So I get it, but for the rest of the league to not kind of scoop up a guy like DeAndre Hopkins, basically you give that guy a suitable quarterback, and he is back to being exquisite form.
Yeah,
So that's what I enjoy seeing. I mean, I don't want to see the Chiefs win, but if the Chiefs are playing better black and blue football than everyone else, I got no complaints.
yeah. I mean, it's kind of come to that point where I I don't want to see them three-peat. I mean, sure, it'll be cool, whatever, but we're at a point where it's almost like, do you pick the Chiefs or do you pick everyone else? And at this rate, it's kind of like, well, it might be just the Chiefs. Like,
No, I'm going everyone else because to be honest, like I see that basically 5 out of those 6 teams that we think that'll be in the playoffs of the AFC alongside the Chiefs, I think they're problems, to be honest. And I also see that if just straight up, if we're just talking pure chalk, pure numbers, and these games should be fairly evenly matched because it's a postseason. That basically means just outright Kansas City has a 25% chance of getting to the Super Bowl. And on top of that, I think this is one of the best years that the AFC has to go toe to toe with Kansas City. There's really, to me, there's only one team in this conference that I think is kind of a cakewalk, and we just saw it yesterday, and that would be the Texans. But then, in addition to what we just said about waivers and Deontay Johnson, I mean, the big loss yesterday for Houston was Tank Dell. They are absolutely ahead of waivers of Kansas City. Should they want Deontay Johnson, they will get him.
that's
Absolutely.
true.
I think that's a great destination for Deontay is Houston because that
Yeah,
is a playoff team. A team is solid, well coached, a lot of picks. I mean, got some bad luck lately, but man, I could really see Houston doing damage. I still, I mean, at this point, maybe I'm wrong, but I mean, I picked Green Bay, Houston as my Super Bowl. I got to stick to it at this point.
so the only reason I say, you got to lean a little bit on the side of the Chiefs. So if we go through playoff teams as of right now, we're looking at the AFC. We go Bills. Okay, they lost to the Bills. That's fine.
Bills can do it.
Pittsburgh. Well, they got them next week. We'll see what happens.
That'll tell us a lot.
Yep. They've beaten Baltimore. Yeah, it was the first game of the season, but they did beat Baltimore.
Baltimore should have won that game. Plus, Baltimore should have won the conference championship.
But what was his name? Was that Mark Andrews or was that Likely who had his foot on the Likely?
So on the goal line.
I mean, still, they battled him tooth and nail. It came down to the last play. So
they can win it.
I mean,
they can totally.
I get that. But they've beaten Baltimore. Then yesterday, the score doesn't say it, but they basically played with the Texans like they were food.
Absolutely.
Then we look at the Chargers. They've beaten the Chargers twice.
Yeah.
Then we look at
really
Denver.
Well head to head against LA. They do match up well against LA. I don't quite understand why.
And I mean, the Chargers scored 10 and 17, so they kind of just messed around with them. And then you look at Denver. They beat Denver already, and now they're playing them again at the end of the season in 2 weeks. But
they did not do well against Denver, though.
They didn't. I agree, but the number still says, W on the other side, and it's like.
But you got to look at the bad matchups. These aren't great matchups. These are not great matchups. Some of them are good, like possibly Pittsburgh, LA, Houston. Those are good matchups potentially. But the other sides, the Baltimore, the Buffalo, the Denver. Should Cincinnati get on a nasty heater? They don't want to see Cincinnati. I can tell you that.
I'm not disagreeing with you at all here, but all I'm saying is they've basically beaten everyone in the AFC playoff picture except Buffalo. And
exactly.
And even the Buffalo game, it wasn't like, we didn't think they could still win it. It was 9 points, so yeah. But it was a battle, you know what I mean?
Yeah, totally.
And it was in Buffalo. So now every single game, it doesn't matter who's playing at this rate because it's already chosen. I don't know if it's actually nope, it's legit. They are the number 1 seed overall.
They are
because they're up 3 games. So even in that rate, Buffalo they squeaked by a little bit there in Buffalo. Now you have to go to Kansas City, which is, Arrowhead's one of the hardest places to play, and you still have to play them. So the matchups are going to be insane, but they're the best defense in the AFC by far, points allowed, and they've beaten everybody else. It's insane how crazy the 4-letter networks and the 3-letter network and all that been looking past Kansas City all year, and they've only got 1 loss. It's so weird.
Yeah. I think they are a solid team top to bottom. But they do, to me, they're going to have more resistance this season than they did last season through the playoffs, because I feel their first game is not going to be as easy as hosting Miami. I definitely don't see that. Their first game is going to be more than likely, from what I'm seeing, just kind of how teams are shaking up here. I think their first game is going to be against, and this is going to be against a team that is a low-seeded team that wins a wild card matchup. I think they're going to play in the semifinals of the AFC. They're going to end up playing against either Denver or Cincinnati. That's where I really see this shaking up.
But Cincinnati can only make it if someone loses.
Yeah, they need to go on a crazy heater, get crazy tie breaks, all sorts of stuff. I could really see Denver getting a first-round victory math-wise. They would be playing, I think, would they be playing against the 4 seed? Or are they playing against the 3, something like that? Or I think 2 plays 7.
Yeah, okay, 2 is 7. So they play Buffalo.
So actually, Denver out of the gates. I could kind of see Denver though flipping with LA. because Denver is going to get the last week against Kansas City, and they're probably going to pull the brakes back a little bit. And Denver is going to be fighting because they would like to probably not go to Buffalo, is my
But
guess.
if that's the case, though, Denver's going to lose a game. So, all right, I'm gonna play on your side here for a second because now I'm looking at schedules.
Sure.
Uh-oh. So I said somebody needs to lose, right? Well, guess what? Denver plays Cincinnati.
Uh-oh. That's it. That's the game. That's the season right there, man. That is the season.
If Cincinnati somehow goes now I got to go check the Cincinnati schedule because now I'm kind of interested.
I mean, I just saw Joe Burrow on Hard Knocks say we're not. It's going to be hard for us to get in, but we're going to not lose a game pretty much the rest of the season. That's what he said, and that was last week.
So they play Cleveland today. Now, mind you, Cleveland has kind of fallen off a rock, or like they were good at the beginning. Yeah, they're calling it off a little bit. So now if Cincinnati beats Cleveland, now we're talking, okay, maybe. Then they play Denver.
Yeah.
And we go, okay, they beat Denver. Let's just call that they beat them.
Yep.
They will be playing a Pittsburgh team who probably will already have their team set.
Yes, they're locked, so they're pulling back. So Cincinnati won't lose a game the rest of the way out. Potentially.
So Denver might be out.
Yeah, if Denver doesn't, and Denver has to beat Cincinnati or they're out. It's that simple because Cincinnati loses the head-to-head tiebreaker against the Chargers. I saw that game. They lost that game head-to-head. So they cannot win a tiebreaker against the Chargers. The only tiebreaker they can win against is Denver. So the only space that's left is the Denver spot.
So now here's the big question. How hard does Kansas City play against Pittsburgh next week? Because then, and I know we're getting in the weeds and we're playing a little, we're having a little fun here.
Yeah.
So now we're looking at how hard Pittsburgh plays, because Pittsburgh's on a 2-game losing streak. Now they've lost that chance at Baltimore with the loss yesterday. Now Pittsburgh is going to play Kansas City, and they're going to play Cincinnati at the end. And we're assuming they're going to lose to Cincinnati because Cincinnati has to win.
Right.
This could get bowling shoe ugly.
So to me, Kansas City's in, but they don't necessarily have the overall 1 seed, right? Because if they lose, if they lose out and Buffalo wins out, Buffalo wins the 1 seed.
Right. I'm playing a little ahead of myself, but I don't see Kansas City losing both Pittsburgh and Denver.
Oh.
Because now
that's possible. That's debate. That's a lot of debate.
That's a lot of debate. This is where it could get a little weird. If Kansas City beats Pittsburgh, Kansas City might pull off.
Yeah, they're
if
in.
Kansas City,
they got it.
Right. If Kansas City loses to Pittsburgh,
the Denver game is scary.
They'll run over Denver because they'll have to. Well, just hear me out. They'll have to come out and play, Kansas City football. Now, Denver, if they've already lost to Cincinnati, Denver's out.
If they lose to Cincinnati
and then they lose to Kansas City, they're out.
Oh yeah, but if they win against Kansas City, they're in.
I'm going to have to put my money down that Kansas City doesn't lose 2 games in a row just because they haven't all season.
It's crazy, fair, but it's still scary. It's still weird that it's not fully locked up. It's got that weirdness to it. Like, to me, it reminds me of like when Phillip Rivers had a hit on what was it, like a 9-way parlay he had to hit on a 9-way parlay for the Chargers to get into the playoffs. They did.
Mhm.
Based on tiebreakers. And like we're talking like cross conference. We're talking weird NFC games that don't even make sense.
And and
Yeah,
Buffalo is going to win out. Like, we can put our money down. I mean, they play the Patriots twice and the Jets. Like, I don't I don't see them losing any of that.
yeah,
Um,
yeah.
but then again, they did lose to the Rams 2 weeks
They
ago.
did.
So
Yep, and
I don't.
they can put up a clunker every now and then, and we've seen Josh Allen lose to Zach Wilson, so it is possible,
I
very
was going to say,
possible.
and Aaron Rodgers might come out there with some sort of stick up his behind and then go
Yeah,
nuts. So
I think he
um,
wants to kill it these last 3 games that he plays and then retire. So
yeah,
yeah, be
just to give
careful.
people like the middle finger on the way out. Absolutely.
Exactly.
Um,
Yep.
like it's like, now that I've looked at all these schedules and seen whoever is the NFL schedule maker, that person is brilliant, because
They hit a
like
home run.
you couldn't have called it any better. Like, Pittsburgh played Baltimore, Houston played Kansas City, Pittsburgh plays Kansas City, Denver plays like, these teams are all
Yeah.
over the place, and we haven't even talked about Miami or the Colts because I mean, I obviously don't believe in them, but like,
No, they're done.
it could be bananas.
Yeah, there's some pretty wild stuff. I actually saw, I think it might be on Amazon or it's somewhere on the NFL Plus app, about how they make the schedule. I want to say the head guy, his name's Mike. He's got about like maybe about 2, 3 other people that work alongside him to build this. But the real driving force, and they say it happens instantly. It's basically quantum computing done by Amazon Web Services that is building, and they throw in all of the variables and the constraints, and they generate that schedule, and they generate billions of NFL schedules, and then they once they get a good amount, then they start to curate them, and it's a cool story. It's the season that they're like, oh, there's nothing going on here, and then Aaron Rodgers gets dealt to the Jets. Like, that was a massive wrench in that season a few
Mhm.
years ago. But that's how they do it, and they could definitely see how things kind of intertwine, and how teams are looking going into this season, and then that's when they unleash the actual season at the end of May. So I think you're spot on, man. This is the best work that we've seen in the AWS era of making schedules, that they've really ended here to end a season, because there is some really, really unique things going on here. And I love that Kansas City has not clinched it. And there is some weirdness that can occur there. And same thing on the NFC side. There's some really cool things that occur on the NFC part. Just putting this out there, Triggs, is there any likelihood that Green Bay can win the North? It can't be against Detroit, though.
I don't think so. Because
Like if
they lost to Minnesota, but then they would have to beat Minnesota.
Oh no,
Then
it's not happening. Green Bay's record in the division is garbage. It's 1 and
yeah,
3.
that's what I was saying. Because if they beat
Yeah,
Minnesota, then they would pass them. But is it
yeah.
division first or is it conference first?
Your divisional breaks always happen first.
Hmm.
Divisional
But
breaks
then,
go first, and
so
then
if we,
conference breaks. That's actual like NFL tie-breaking procedure.
which I love it, I love it that way.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
because like the NBA and stuff like that doesn't
yeah.
even
They're
matter
bad
about
at
the
it.
divisions.
Yeah, it's crap.
Um,
It should.
uh,
It should matter.
there's a small chance because I mean it's one of those
Detroit
like,
can't. Detroit can't, because Detroit can only lose 2 divisional games. They're four
yeah,
and two in the division.
right,
Minnesota's X and 1. So if it comes down to it in a 3-way tie at X and, well, actually no, it can't happen because Minnesota and Detroit play each other. So
yep.
there is no way Green Bay can actually win the North now. Green Bay can only secure a wild card spot.
So if they lost two, then Detroit would win it. Yeah, I'm with you there.
Yeah, yeah, it's between those 2 teams at this point. So you just got to
What?
make sure that you got enough ground to not get caught by Seattle, which you own the breaker there. so they cannot
Yep.
get you. Atlanta cannot
We beat the
catch up.
Rams. The Rams
Oh,
can't get the tiebreaker.
but so it's only but there's 3 games left, so there's got to be some weird breaker between Atlanta and Arizona. Have you guys played either of those teams this season?
Arizona, we blew out.
Oh yeah,
I
so it's
remember
only
that
Atlanta
game.
then, right? It's got to be Atlanta.
It might be. Yeah, we didn't play
Yeah.
Atlanta.
So Atlanta, conference-wise, is 6-3. You guys are 5-4. So that's where it gets weird. But I would think if Atlanta gets one more loss or Green Bay gets one more win, I think that gets locked up.
But then there's still teams like New Orleans, Dallas, and San Francisco that are still in it. So,
but they can't catch you though.
No, they can only catch Tampa.
They can only catch their own divisions. Yeah.
Well, no, Dallas can't catch their own division. They can only catch Tampa.
Right. But Tampa Bay could catch Tampa Bay and Tampa Bay, New Orleans. New Orleans is really not in this much. They're going to get eliminated this week. So it's really only Atlanta and Tampa Bay still being in the mix. But
I think
like I said, that's the only threat to Green Bay is Atlanta.
But the math says it's that way, but I think it's Green Bay wins a game and they're in. Because it's we play New Orleans, who I just saw Alvin Kamara, Olave, and Derek Carr are all out. We're playing Spencer Rattler.
Yeah, I like Spencer. I've seen some of his games. It hasn't been pretty. I mean, it's not going to be pretty when you don't have your weapons.
Yeah,
it's going to be like kind of Taysom Hill jank. It's pure jank with that team now at this point. There's a reason why they're at the bottom of the NFC.
Yeah, just saying that the last 4 games the Packers have put up 30 plus. So
yeah,
I don't think New Orleans has any shot at all.
Yeah, they could maybe put up a 20 something, but yeah, it's
in Green Bay. It's in Green Bay.
It's in Green Bay.
Even worse.
Yeah, and Spencer's used to playing in Oklahoma and South Carolina, so that cold is a shock.
And it's a Monday night, so it's going to be even colder than we even thought.
Exactly.
Plus,
so yeah, I like that there.
I mean, we don't have to go. We don't have to go too far in the weeds, but New Orleans, the 3rd worst rush defense in the NFL, and Josh Jacobs is number 3 in the league in rushing yards. So, a cold night against a warm weather team with a top 3 back against a bottom 3 defense, that basically spells disaster.
It does. Absolutely. That's no debate.
Yeah.
I like it, man. Yeah, I really like the plays there. I think Green Bay is going to be in a real comfortable spot. I think if I don't know if Atlanta plays today. If they go down, Green Bay's to me should have this clinched before even playing on Monday night.
Yeah, and Green Bay can only get a wild card spot, so they're kind. And to be honest, they're only 6 or 7 because I don't think they can catch Minnesota. So they're kind of
Detroit.
Yeah. No, I mean for that Minnesota would get that first wild card just off of tiebreakers and stuff. So
but Minnesota could pass Detroit and then Detroit falls to 5.
But yeah, either way we won't get it. There's
you'll just
almost
say
no way.
Yeah, 6 or
which is
7.
Totally fine with me because then we don't play Philly in that first round. Not saying we're afraid of Philly or anything like that, but at least you get 1 extra week of preparation against a team like Philly.
Yeah, I could even if that were the case, I would still take Green Bay against Philly. I would love to see Green Bay get its revenge against Philly. I think you guys can do it.
Absolutely. After that first week, it was
just
weird,
not a good week.
No, it wasn't. It was a strange week, and we were all in Brazil, and
Yeah,
Like,
just weird.
no excuses. You got to play football, but there was a lot of slipping and sliding, and like
You're
I
playing
just
on
want to see
soccer
them
turf.
on. Yeah, I want to see them on an actual field, go
Yep.
go toe to toe, and see what happens.
Yeah, and
Yeah, I'm
that's a
looking at
turf
the
that's just like Green Bay. So if you go to Philly, that's it's no difference than playing at Lambeau.
right, and now I'm looking at the breakdowns here of the playoffs, which I was just looking at standings before. So yeah, I don't think Green Bay can fall out of sixth because
You got
so
Washington.
Washington will probably lose today. That we're both assuming that, I think. Um, Green Bay is going to win today, and then we're 2 games up. So
Yeah,
it's
that's pretty tough to catch up to then.
and Seattle we beat, so we have the tiebreaker on Seattle, and they're 2 games back. So
Yeah,
it's kind of just we're
almost set.
already there.
Yeah, yeah. Seattle's almost like in a lose situation where they have to fight tooth and nail to get that 4 seed.
Yep. And from what it's looking like, Tampa owns the tiebreaker over the Rams, so the Packers are more than likely going to Tampa.
And that was didn't you guys play Tampa earlier?
I don't think so.
Yeah, but that's a good that'll be a fun game, but I think that's definitely a game that Green Bay would win.
Yeah, no, we didn't play Tampa. Tampa's actually
Okay.
won 4 in a row. Oh, well,
Yeah,
all right.
they're on a
They-
heater.
Well, they played the Giants, the Raiders, and the Panthers. So,
Yeah. I think
'cause-
Green Bay definitely wants to stay at 6 to go to Tampa for sure.
or LA, which the Packers kind of just ran through LA. So,
Oh yeah. But LA, I don't think that would be the 5 seed. So the 5
LA,
should end up in
no,
LA or it could be 3 if LA bumps
yeah,
up to 3. Yeah, that
yeah.
as well.
I
So
don't know
yeah,
what
it's
Tampa's
interesting.
schedule looks like, but yeah, there's a lot of. I know we're talking a lot of just weird hypotheticals, which is
I love
fun
it though.
because that's what the playoffs is all about. But
It is.
the
Green Bay
Rams
at 6
play
would be scary.
the Rams play the Jets and the Cardinals. Oh, look at that!
They ain't
The
losing.
schedule makers put the Cardinals and the Seahawks the last 2 games with the Rams. So we don't actually know who's going to win that division because
Yeah.
anybody could win anything.
Yeah, that's an interesting one.
Now, uh, well, okay. Yeah, we're probably playing Tampa. They have
Yeah.
the Cowboys, the Panthers, and the Saints.
Yeah,
So
they ain't losing. They're going 3-0.
even if they lose to the Cowboys, sure, but that would, wow, they got
They got 11 wins.
they got a great schedule for this last half. I mean, you
Yep.
get to play the Panthers twice, the Saints, the Raiders, and the Giants. Like
Yeah.
what?
For fantasy football, it's like one of the best defenses you can acquire right now is Tampa Bay if you're able to. And I believe that transaction was made within our league.
Nice.
I do want to say that that transaction actually just occurred, if I'm correct. Maybe it happened a week ago or whatever.
Now the weird part about Tampa, this is gonna be like the most shocking thing you've ever heard in your entire life.
Yeah.
They have beaten Washington, Detroit, and Philly.
Wow. That's wild, man.
And 2 of those they beat them by double digits. They beat
Yeah.
Washington and Philly by 17.
So they would own every tiebreaker if it weren't for having as many losses as they have.
But then listen to this. They lost to Atlanta twice.
That's devastating, man. Like that, like Atlanta is trash. Like I know they could still win this division, but dude, they're trash with Kirk Cousins. We'll see how it mixes with Penix. But then again, you bring in a left-handed quarterback, it's going to be a little bit different spinning the football today.
Like, okay, now I'm a little bit more tentative about saying that we can just blow out Tampa because they've literally beaten all the good teams and they've lost to the 49ers.
Right, which is no slouch in its own accord too, depending who was out there for San Francisco.
4 weeks ago. It was bad,
Okay.
San Francisco.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, there's some weird things that happen. Gosh, I still can't take San Francisco lightly, to be honest. To me, people are really still going to think of San Francisco as good. It's just that they just got trashed with the schedule. One thing the schedule makers did this year and executed flawlessly is making sure San Francisco would not make the playoffs, which I called at the start of the season.
You
Like, just
did.
a nasty, nasty schedule came their way, and they have virtually no control over it. They would need a miracle on tiebreakers to fall into place for that whole division to end at 8-8.
Yeah, it's a whole lot of bananas, I'm telling you.
Yeah. So that's some wild stuff there, but yeah, pretty cool playoff breakdown. Pretty cool stuff going on. I like it. About time for us to pick some games.
Oh, for sure. I mean,
Absolutely.
do you have the games up, or do you want me to pop them up?
Yeah, I got the games up. I got the games. I got the spread.
Ooh.
Yeah. So I'm seeing everything on these games. Man, this we'll just get my game out of the way. Because I'm looking at it and I'm a little scared at this spread because I did not want us to beat the Falcons last week. We did not. But my Raiders are going up against Jacksonville today. We are a 2.5-point favorite on the spread. Aiden O'Connell is playing, from what I'm hearing.
But no offense, but why would anyone favor them? Oh, Jacksonville.
It's Jacksonville. It's Mac Jones.
And you're at home, so technically you're getting 3. So you're not really favored. Right. Just for your sake, I'm going to go Jacksonville so you guys lose and get the number 1 pick.
Gosh, I hope so. I really hope that happens, but yeah. I know Jacksonville's bad. I hope they're not that bad. I would just pick Jacksonville on the money line and don't touch the spread.
Well, if it makes you feel any better, Jacksonville is the worst defense in the NFL.
By total yardage.
So they are 10 yards worse than the Carolina Panthers.
Jeez. Yeah, that screams like big play potential.
Oh man, I know.
That's what I'm definitely afraid of because Aiden O'Connell's got a friggin' howitzer when he unloads that. So yeah.
Well, then you probably don't like this next stat. They are the worst pass defense in the NFL.
Oh yeah. This could be if you got Raiders targets, they could have a day today.
So Raiders and the over.
Raiders and the over. Yeah, my goodness. Okay, this sucks.
I have
the Raiders are going to win this, and they're going to screw this up. They're going to screw this up. Dang it!
Yeah.
Like I was hoping Desmond Ridder would just play out the rest of the season, and he sucks. Like he really sucks. So this is going to get screwed up.
I'm sorry.
I know.
We're going to go Raiders on that one. No, I'm still going Jacksonville Raiders. Just for the fun of it.
Okay, yeah, I'll take the Raiders and the spread. Bummer.
Oh, and you would lose the tiebreaker to them if you. Oh man,
it's all screwed up.
That suck.
Yep,
it's gonna be. You would have the same record.
Yep. That would annihilate the Shedeur Sanders sweepstakes.
All right, I'm still going Jacksonville just for your sake.
All right. Yeah, I'm going to root for Jacksonville, but I don't think it's happening.
All right, who we got next?
All right, next we got pissed off Aaron Rodgers against the Rams.
Ooh. You know what? I'm going to go Aaron Rodgers just because, wow, the Rams are favored 3 and they're on the road. Like, wow.
Yeah, I feel like that's a little low.
That's weird. I'm gonna still go with Aaron Rodgers just because.
Yeah, I would. Considering that the spread is pretty tight with the money line, I would just take the Rams and money.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, tickets are as low as $7.
That is a deal. That is a steal. You
Wait,
get
is
that
that for real?
$7, and then you just work your way down to any other seat. When it comes to when you get to a game, no one cares where you sit really. If it's a low populated game, you pretty much just get to your seats and just do whatever.
Wait, this is for real. Like I'm on Vivid Seats right now. You
Wow.
can get a $6 ticket in the upper level.
Yeah, that's worth it. Rams Jets, that is worth it. That's actually a really good game.
Like if you've never been to a game, why wouldn't you just do that?
Yeah, definitely go.
You
That's
wait,
worth it.
you can get. I know I'm in the weeds now. I'm sorry, but
Nice.
you can get a ticket in the lower bowl, like section 104 for $25.
Jeez. That's insane, man. I was hearing Washington prices like that back in the day before they got good. And
What in the world?
Yeah, that just tells you how many good teams there are out east that more people flock to.
Like nobody has tickets that.
Yeah.
Like Indianapolis and Carolina have tickets higher than that.
Jeez, that's crazy. Yeah, that's
Oh
crazy.
wow. Maybe they know something we don't.
Maybe, but no, I'm with you on that. Like that, if you want to actually go to a game and check it out, like that'd be a cool one.
That kind of hurts my feelings a little bit. I'm not gonna lie. I've
I
never
know.
been to Lambeau Field. Is that weird?
Really, that is weird.
I've wrestled next to it, but
Oh,
I've never actually been inside.
yeah,
And the
it's good.
lowest ticket at Lambeau right now is $102. So
Yeah. Good
I wish
luck.
I had a $7 ticket. My bad. Go ahead.
All right. That's tickets right there, man. Next game we got Eagles at Commanders. Spread is Eagles by 4.
Yeah, I'm gonna go Eagles because they are on a tear.
Yeah, I would go Eagles for more than the spread. I think that's the play on that one. Yep. So there we go. Then we got the game that this game tickets should be as low as $5 a piece. Giants at Falcons.
Ooh, this is the game of the week. Michael Penix. Wow, these tickets are $72. Atlanta's favored by 10. I'm gonna go New York.
I'm taking the Giants too. I know they screwed us over against Baltimore, but this will be the week.
So, yeah, totally.
Yeah, we'll take them. I like it. All right, we got Cardinals at Panthers. Cardinals by 5.5.
I'm gonna go backwards and say Michael Penix is gonna blow up, and then they're gonna be so upset, and everybody's gonna jump on his bandwagon. But you said Cardinals and Panthers. I'm just gonna. I don't know. Let's just go because the spread is too big. I'm gonna go Carolina against the spread.
Yeah, I will take against the spread. I'll take Carolina as well. I think the money line could be a good play here too, but I'd just take the spread just to be safe.
This is like one of those times where I know somebody does this. There was a guy that went to like all the stadiums or whatever. Like now that I'm looking at ticket prices and I'm down that rabbit hole, like Jets $7, Dallas $20, Carolina 17. Like this might be the time to like go on vacation and just go to games.
Absolutely. All right, next one. We got Browns Bengals. We got Bengals by 10 against Cincinnati at home in the jungle.
Yes.
I do not like that point spread. I would actually take the Bengals money line at -600.
Ooh, I'm thinking they're gonna blow Carolina or Cleveland out because, as we said,
I hope so.
Cincinnati's still got something to play for.
They do.
Okay, now I know that. All right, we're gonna go backwards just a hair. So, if now hear me out. If the Bengals make it to the playoffs, how is Joe Burrow not the MVP?
Oh yeah, absolutely. That is truly your MVP. Yeah, that's a
'Cause
great case, actually. So if you want to hit up a
his
casino right now, bet Joe Burrow. Like
like
you probably lose, but you could also hit bananas.
yeah. I mean, look at Josh Allen is at 3,300. He's got 25 and 5. Joe
Yeah,
Burrow's at 4,000, 36 and 8.
yeah,
The
yeah.
only person in the realm of Joe Burrow is Lamar Jackson, who's at
But he
38,
had a stinker this last game too.
but he's at 37 and 4. He's got less interceptions and more touchdowns and
Yeah, so
just as many yards.
it's like the Heisman last year. Like you have to be elite at quarterback at this point. So
Honestly,
yeah,
I don't even know how Josh Allen is the quote unquote runaway. His numbers suck.
not lately.
I mean, I'm just looking at the overall numbers. So Lamar Jackson's at 3,800 yards, 37 touchdowns, 4 interceptions,
Yep,
and his quarterback rating is 120.
yep.
Like Josh Allen is, let's see here, he's about 400 yards behind. He's 12 touchdowns behind. He's thrown more interceptions.
Whoa, wait, you're forgetting rushing. He's got to be
Oh,
in there with rushing.
oh yeah, I'll get there. I'll get there.
Yeah.
I haven't clicked that yet. But his passer rating is 103. So he's 17 points behind on that. Like,
Yeah. I would go total touchdowns versus interceptions.
yeah,
And go total yardage as well.
yeah, I have to click some more buttons here just because
Yeah.
rushing doesn't pop up by itself. But like his
Right.
passing yards are not even close. And his
But that happens when you run more. And we've seen that with other guys.
True.
We've seen that with other guys too. That just naturally happens. And that's
Uh,
where it's not a bad thing. That's how
so-
Lamar won his first MVP.
his rushing is he's at 484 and 11 touchdowns. So total touchdowns is 36. Pretty sure Lamar's thrown more than that. Yeah, he's thrown 37. His rushing, yeah, oh my gosh, these aren't even close. So
Weird.
yeah, Josh Allen's at 484 and 11 on rushing. Lamar's at 765 and 3. So yeah, he has less touchdowns, but he's thrown more touchdowns than Josh Allen has total. And he has more rushing yards by a lot. He's almost doubled him up in rushing yards. Lamar might actually hit 1,000. And Josh Allen's barely at 500.
So the MVP line is like shady. It's like screwy. Like they're sucking money out of people who want to bet Josh Allen. And there's been weird movement too. Like we've seen Jared Goff in there. We've seen Saquon Barkley. It's basically going on with weird.
It's a popularity contest at that point.
But you're spot on. It should be Joe Burrow.
At least Jared Goff was on like a heater. Like his completion percentage is insane. He's at 71%.
Yeah.
Actually, Baker Mayfield's at 70.8. So like it's not that far behind, but like Josh Allen is 11th in yards. Like that's kind of weird. Like you can't be 11th in yards and we're 6th in touchdowns, and be the MVP.
Right. Yeah, totally, man. Yeah, I think at this point it's got to be either Burrow, Lamar, or Saquon. But I would really like to see Saquon win it over Lamar based off of kind of the last game.
If Saquon goes for 2,000, like it's got to be Saquon to me. Yeah, even if he doesn't break Dickerson's record.
Yeah, his value is going to be just insane. So
but yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, no, that's cool, man.
I just thought I would see that, and I was like, wait a minute here.
Right? So up next, we got Titans-Colts. We got the Colts at 3.5.
Because everyone cares about the Titans and Colts.
Yeah, that's just all sorts of ugly.
Hey, I can admit I missed a Will Levis, all right? I'm going to go Colts just because they're at home.
I will take the Titans because there is no Will Levis.
Oh.
Boom.
So this is a pick'em. So, like, you know what? let's get the Colts out of the playoff picture. Let's go Titans.
Heck yeah. Let's just take. I mean, pretty much either way, you're looking at even money. So I would just take Titans and the spread at 3.5 underdog. So I like that. Lions Bears. We got the Lions at -7. This is outside at Chicago.
Yeah. So, because I'm an a-hole and my brother is a Lions fan, and Chicago hasn't won a game in like a million years, only because it's outside, I'm going to say, I'm going to lean.
Even money.
I'm going to lean
on the
Chicago.
Spread. Yeah, I'm with you on that. I'm taking even money on the spread all day on that one. Vikings Seahawks. Minnesota is at Seattle for favored by 2.5.
Yeah, I'm going to go Minnesota just because I just watched Seattle get blown apart by the Packers. Like, yeah, they're horrible.
Yeah, at this point, 2.5. Not much difference between that and the money line, so I would actually just take the money line just to be safe. So you got that there. Patriots Bills. Bills got to be favored by a lot. Bills are favored by 14.
Oh,
at home.
Yeah, 14's a big number. Yeah. I'm going to go New England just because 14 just seems like a lot.
Yeah, I'll take you on that. I would not want to touch the Bills in any way on that. Between that big number and the money line is just astronomical. Don't play with that.
Nope.
If you want to avoid this game altogether, not a bad idea.
I'm actually gonna flip my pick. Buffalo has scored more than 30 for like 7 or 8 weeks in a row, and I don't think New Orleans or New England can even get close to 20. So,
right,
I'm gonna go Buffalo by 14.
All right, Buffalo by 14. There you go, almost even money
like
there.
it.
So yeah, good stuff. I know, but I like to play there. We got 49ers flying all the way south to Miami, favored by 2.
Yeah, sure. San Francisco.
Yeah, I'll take San Francisco. At that point, I'll just take the money line at -130. You got that. And last game of the week, I think Sunday is there. Well, up until the Green Bay game. Yeah, we haven't touched that game. So where is that on here? Okay, cool. So yeah, second to last game of the week, we got Buccaneers at Cowboys. Buccaneers by 4.
Yeah, I just told you that the Buccaneers beat all the good teams. Yep. I'm going to say they're going to lose this one to Dallas because they're bad.
That is wild.
Yep.
I would feel confident with Tampa Bay winning. I don't like the spread, so I'll just take Tampa Bay and the money line at -200.
10-4.
Yep. Last game of the week, Saints at Green Bay. Monday night. Boy, this is a big one. Green Bay favored by 14. This is as big as the Buffalo New England spread.
Yeah, I told you that nobody is playing for New Orleans, but that is still
that's a lot.
Nope. You know what? I can't say that. So Green Bay beat San Francisco by 18, the Dolphins by 13, and Seattle by 17 with their actual teams. So I'm going to say they're going to beat the Saints by a lot. So yeah, Green Bay.
Yeah, Green Bay by a lot. I can see it. I get this weird feeling. I can see Spencer Rattler being dialed in. Basically, like it's all on him. Is he going to keep it to 14? Maybe. Like I could see like maybe being just short. Like maybe they lose by like 17 or something. Like a late Green Bay touchdown kind of extends it to a 17-point win instead of a 10-point win. I could see that. So yeah, I think that's the way it's going to go. But I don't think Spencer and the Saints are going to look as bad as them losing by the spread. So I'll take Green Bay, but it's a weird. I think this could be a weird game where New Orleans might not be as bad as we think.
So if we just go to Spencer Rattler's last 2 games he's played, uh, his completion percentage is under 50%,
Yeah.
and he's barely getting 150 yards in the air.
Yeah,
So
he's basically gonna he's
and
gonna have quarterback competition next off season for sure.
his rushing is non-existent, and that's usually where the Packers are kind of bad, is rushing quarterbacks. But
Yeah, he can
yeah,
move.
if he's going to be in the pocket, they're just going to beat him up like they did Geno
Yeah.
Smith.
Yep. So there you go, man. But hey, that's all the games there. Boom. That's how you do it. I'm Steve Metrics. That's your boy.
DJ Triggs.
And that's no debate. And I can't find the